Our scuba diver, Vlad Reznov, decided to swim into the premises of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
Ja, szerintem
Look,
is
he's
amúgy.
already on the floor
Az elég
below, but at
valószínű, hogy
one
utólag
point we
vették fel
became
már.
very worried.
Még az sem biztos, hogy ezt ott vették fel, ez teljesen máshol.
Somewhere gurgling, I hear. Wait, what
Mármint
happened?
befordult, vágtak egyet, lejtette valahol, bárhol, itt akárhol, be a vízbe.
And what
Ezt
happened?
meg már megvágták,
Wait, he
úgyhogy...
seems to have surfaced. Now we'll pull him out with something.
Crap.
Oh no.
De ez...
I don't
De ez...
understand. Where are you going?
Where is he?
Where? Probably there. Wait.
Ouch.
What could have happened to him?
Where is he? Guys,
How are we going to get Lat now?
where is he? We've lost him.
What should we do? Let's rake through the ice with a crowbar.
Something is happening to the water.
Bubbling.
But he's not here.
There is air.
And where is he?
What are we to do now?
Gotta dive. We have to dive.
Yes, we will have to dive.
He is here. There you are. And we were worried.
You really scared us.
What happened?
Doug, it's hardcore. It turned out we were wrong. I could still get through. Well, there goes one more staircase down.
Oh man. The water is very muddy.
Yes, very muddy.
I thought you had already sailed somewhere. Like you're joking. Dosimeter protection is damaged.
Yes, it burst and the dosimeter went out. Oh man. The dosimeter died.
At least you're alive.
What are you talking about?
Now you will fall too.
Give your hand, get out.
What happened to my carbine?
He's alive. Guys, he's alive.
Look how red his lip is.
I thought we were all going to jail now.
Sasha, I'm telling you again. The staircase goes down. Here. There are definitely 2 floors down. The first one is below us. The staircase goes there. A corridor. 1 room. The second room. Further the
Előtte amúgy még azt mondta, hogy bemegy a víz alá, semmit nem lát.
Then -6, so there is also -9 and -12.
Maybe you are right. But it's very cold. I can't feel my fingers.
It's radioactive, don't drink.
Why are you taking it in your mouth? The dosimeter is broken.
Don't take it in your mouth.
I don't do that. Never did. This could be our last video. Because I lost my carbine. I didn't understand how it happened that I lost it.
Are you very cold?
I didn't freeze much. Just a little. If I had
Erre meg úgy azt mondta, nem érzi a kezét.
got out of there.
Equipment is not removed. Wow, you took it off somehow.
Normal tea, hot.
Hold it, thank you.
You're shaking so much.
Guys, subscribers, we are taking a short break. I urgently need to change clothes. Now I'll change and continue to shoot video. My fingers.
Faster.
I'm worried about that dirt on your feet. Most likely it is very radioactive because even the dosimeter is broken. He does not work. The second dosimeter has already broken today.
We'll have to throw away all the equipment.
Yes, really. What are we going to do with this aqua equipment now? It's radioactive now. The balloon is also contaminated.
Leave it here like everything else. Here's Sue Cap. We left it here. Take even this tube. Everyone laughed, but we didn't take it. Look, and our boat is lying there. Everything will remain here.
Everything is infected.
We lost equipment worth $3,000.
Here it hangs.
Yes.
At least he's alive.
Guys, I want to say, never dive indoors without preparation. This is crazy. Even professionals told us that we shouldn't do that. Never.
What is the preparation here? My carbine unhooked. I lost contact with you and immediately climbed up. Safety is the most important thing.
You've been diving for 7 years now.
I last dived 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
And we thought you had been diving for 7 years. He told us, let's go, everything will be fine.
I change clothes. Do what you want. I went to change clothes.
Okay, okay.
Come on, help him.
Someone close my scuba gear. Twisted it?
Wait a second. All turned.
What about the dosimeter? I don't understand at all.
What? The protection was torn. Look,
Broken protection?
the condom burst. Look here.
Why such poor quality?
A $200 dosimeter sank. Or maybe that strange hairy animal gnawed a hole.
I don't know what happened to it, guys, but it's soaking wet. This is the end. It won't turn on. It's a pity.
Take it, dry it in rice.
The power plant continues to work, guys. It is written that there is still 32% in the resource, although in essence we have already completed our mission. We are fully charging everything, charging the flashlight, charging the camera. If the light goes out, you can use this as a complete power plant. No loud noises, diesel and petrol generators. Everything works due to the energy that is stored in iron phosphate batteries. Hot tea. It is very strong, but sorry, we have a hard job. We drink strong tea.
In Chernobyl and Pripyat, real stalkers do not drink this.
Want? It's very strong. You'll love it. Come on by the handle. Take the handle.
For what? For a candle?
For a pandal.
Ah.
Oh, it's hot. It's been boiled 3 times.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Why haven't you undressed yet?
I lost my lighter. Take a radiation test on me.
Come on, you got some cheap one.
Yeah, cheap. $100 worth. Point it right at me.
Oh man.
Halott.
Are you serious?
940, almost 1,000.
I had more.
Let's measure the background.
It was 1 millisievert.
Indeed, there are more than 1,000.
Come on me.
You're fine.
My suit absorbs radiation. You see, it immediately begins to fall. It already shows in yellow. My water is boiling. I'll change my clothes.
A lot of water got inside the dosimeter. Shake it, it just poured. Yes, it drips.
Guys, we need to write to the manufacturer to make waterproof dosimeters. Really, look.
Water has accumulated, now it does not turn on.
This is radio code 101. This is its only minus.
Overall, it's a great dosimeter.
It was not made for scuba diving.
I can't take the battery out to turn it off, so there's oxidation going on inside.
You already opened it.
By the way, you're right.
But there is a soldered battery.
Exactly, we won't do anything. The battery is soldered. Open it, we can see what's inside. Gently,
Ó, még az
slower.
jó könnyen
The
kinyitotta.
battery jumped out. Great. Everything is wet in there. We disconnected the battery.
It has dust protection.
It won't save him. The water was churned out.
Well, at least we turned off the power to the battery. Let's see.
Here is the power terminal. Oh no, oxidation has appeared.
There is
Just a little. At home I'll dry it well with a hair dryer. I think it will work.
radio code 101.
Radia code. Bye. These are good dosimeters. Just don't put them underwater.
Guys, we needed to eat some iodine before this trip. Radiation got into our lungs and into our mouths.
Is everything all right? Why are you all wet?
Soft shell clothing does not get wet.
Have you rinsed out your shampoo yet?
The smell remained. It's not that I'm proud of it, but I'm the first person
De valami törölköző, az nincs náluk
power
amúgy.
plant.
Guys, write in the comments what
Hát
else
vizes a
we can
feje,
do.
basszeg.
Maybe launch an underwater drone there. Maybe dive in the summer. Maybe swim there in a submarine. I don't know. Every time we can't reach the end. The rooms do not end. There are huge labyrinths. There is a flooded bomb shelter and a tunnel to the 4th power unit.
I found 2 floors.
Tell me what the word camrad means?
Camrad is a friend, comrade, like-minded person.
Camrad, is it in German?
Yes.
I don't know if the tradition is correct or not, but we understand that people here can die if they get lost. That's why we leave bread. Rose hen chocolate bar. Sausage.
Na ezért van, na látjátok, ezért van tarkóban minden ilyen
Torch and
szar.
mayonnaise.
This is what we're taking.
That's it, guys. We've cleared the rubbish. Put valuables away until next time. Farewell, nuclear reactor basement. We're on our way to new adventures.
Do you think you'll come back here?
We will definitely come back here, guys. Let's run faster. We still have to go all night. Why did they go there? Ah, I remembered.
Was everything taken away?
Here is our entrance. Hush, hush, hush. You can't make noise. Quiet, quiet. It was the maximum value. It squeaks very loudly. They can light up the whole workshop. We also used this power plant as a lantern. Imagine. Oh man. We go out into the street. Quiet, please.
Radioactive ice. It's dangerous here.
Look,
There were marauders here.
everything was taken away. Nothing remained.
And it's snowing outside. It's snowing.
Quiet. And why is it staggering?
Make it less bright.
Then give a flashlight, then turn on the flashlight. I'm a candle on the road. Go, mole.
This happens sometimes. In the showdown of stalkers. We went out through some kind of exit. Stupid. I'll tell you how it is.
They always want something from me.
We are now walking in very weak light. Here, by the way, the road is rolled up, security is driving here, and aside the fourth power unit.
Here is the road.
Yes.
There are patrols here, hares, and foxes run.
Let's quickly get out of here because it's really
chestnut.
dangerous here. Let's go.
Car.
And there is the nuclear power plant. I see a red light.
Sasha,
What?
I suggest diving with two people next time because it's safer in tandem.
You're right. We will insure each other. Guys, we need a second scuba, right where you can get it inexpensively.
You can take it inexpensively in the same place where we first took it. Leave one flashlight. You are easy to spot.
Okay. When I got home, I didn't wait for the audience's response, so I bought a professional underwater drone. Well, let's start.
Miért?
Crap, what's happening? Therefore, in the next episode, we are going with Super Seuss to explore those same Chernobyl dungeons. That's it, the drone has sunk. I'll connect to it now.
Na jó, hagyjuk ezt. Na mi volt még itt? Ez mi? Top 10 kérdés, amire a tudomány nem tudja választ.
Welcome to Top 10 Archive.
Hát ezt nem most
In
nem
this
hallani.
video, we're going to take a look at 10 very unique questions that some of the most brilliant men and women still quarrel over. When you take a minute to think about it, there are so many things we still don't have definite or even well-substantiated answers for. From the possibility of advanced life extension to the apocalyptic end of our universe as we know it. Prepare to put your thinking caps on. Number 10. What is consciousness? The Merriam-Webster dictionary describes consciousness as the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. Despite these fancy words strung together, we have yet to grasp what exactly it means to be in such a state. Science tells us that consciousness has to do with multiple regions of the brain, all in a network together rather than a single compartment. Consciousness is a concept so difficult to understand because of the simple fact that it's something that has been wired into our brain since birth.
De ezt mondják amúgy rá, mit tudom én, egy AI-ra is, nem? Vagy egy gépre is, hogy akkor lesz... Nem, vagy akkor lesz probléma, hogyha... Hogy mondják ezt? Életre kell. Öntudatra ébred. Nem, inkább így. Na, de honnan tudod, hogy öntudatra ébred, hogyha azt sem tudjuk, mi az öntudat?
That there is no known way of measuring consciousness. The most difficult question left unanswered is why or how consciousness occurs, given the right arrangement of brain matter. The world's most well-read people and brightest minds have yet to come up with an answer for why human beings are capable of producing pictures inside their head at will. Number 9. Is there a limit on computing speed? In 1958, Jack Kilby, an engineer working for Texas Instruments, cast a pattern onto a 0.4-inch or 11-millimeter long surface consisting of germanium, creating the first known integrated circuit. Due to the fact that this circuit was capable of holding no more than a single transistor, the chip could only hold one bit of data which came in the form of a 1 or a 0, as associated with binary, depending upon the transistor's configuration. Ever since the pattern was discovered in 1965 by Gordon Moore, co-founder of the Intel Corporation, computing power has nearly doubled on a 2-year rotation. Because of advances in technology, engineers have been able to double the number of transistors they can fit on computer chips. These advances increase the speed and power of computers as the number of transistors continues to surge from years previous. The more transistors, the more computations that can be performed per second. Is there a point in time when Moore's law will no longer be applicable to this process? Scientists have been looking into new systems, such as quantum computing, because, as of the time being, there is no way of knowing if computing speed can...
Nem tudom a választ, Barna, mármint, hogy így Tehát, hogyha belegondolva, hogyha nem ébred úgymond öntudatra, akkor mindig az lesz, hogy aki úgymond irányítja, az irányítja, nem? Tehát, hogy megvannak ezek a szabályai, amik miatt nem tud semmit csinálni. Bármint nem, mint hogy olyan kurva okos lennék, de ja. Az még így sem megy rendesen.
And continue to increase at the accelerated rate it has shown to do. Number 8. Is there a way to live indefinitely? Death is something that affects all of us. From the loss of a pet to a close relative, it is a sad thing, and something most don't look forward to or wish upon others. Because of its many inconveniences, if you will, some scientists have taken steps in the direction of finding a way to eradicate death attributed to natural causes from society, or at the very least prolong its coming for as long a time as possible.
Szerintem itt nem is az a kérdés amúgy, hanem az a kérdés, hogy ebben az emberi testben.
We don't think of aging as a fact of life, but rather a disease which should be treated or possibly prevented. Currently, the average life expectancy stands at 71 years, while in the early 19th century it was just about half this. Ray Kurzweil takes 150 vitamins a day in an attempt to cheat death. Kurzweil hopes this routine will keep him long enough to see times where
ránézek a fejére, hát nem tudom.
Work to augment people's immune systems and rid them of disease. Sadly, science has yet to shed any light on the possibilities of living infinitely or greatly expanding the average life expectancy. This enters uncharted waters for a community based on fact and well-substantiated
150 vitaminja van naponta.
The best possible answer is that time will tell. Number 7.
Hát jó, jó. Lehet nem néz ki 75-nek, viszont azt sem mondanám, hogy 100 évig fog élni. Jó, mondjuk ezt nem biztos, hogy rá lehet mondani. Azért vannak olyan 90 pluszos emberek, akik még ugyanúgy dolgoznak, meg mit tudom én, tehát azt nem szednek 150 vitamint naponta.
The known universe is believed to contain no less than 1 trillion galaxies, a number so unfathomable we won't even try to put it into proportion.
De amúgy nem ennyi van, csak ennyit látunk, nem?
Said to possess the right conditions to support life. 500 million are in the habitable zone of the Milky Way, the galaxy of which Earth is still a part. Still, without concrete evidence, there is no way to prove or disprove the existence of an alien race. This will be one of those topics, just like the possibility of there being a creator, which will remain heavily scrutinized, and something that science does its best to stay out of until measurable data is found. Number 6. Will there ever be a human overpopulation? Reverend Thomas Robert Malthus was born on February 13, 1766 in Surrey, Great Britain. He is not only known for his work as a demographist, but best for the paper, An Essay on the Principle of Population. In it, he observed that sooner or later, population will be put back into check as a result of naturally occurring events, such as famine or disease. Malthus reasoned that the power of population is indefinitely greater than the power of Earth to produce subsistence for man. This led to the birth of what is known as a Malthusian catastrophe, meaning that the human population will always return to subsistence level once agricultural growth has become greater than that of which the Earth can yield. Advances in medicine and sanitation are contributing factors to the greatest population explosion in history, which is currently over 7 billion people. Is there a chance that Malthus may be behind the times? So many factors play into the possibility of there being more humans one day than the available number of resources that no definite answer can be given. Number 5. What is the universe made of? This seems like a rather amusing question, but the answer is far more complicated than one might expect. If polled, chances are the average Joe would say something along the lines of planets, stars, gases, different elements and compounds, etc. For quite some time, this is what science was leaning towards until we came to the conclusion that matter only makes up 5% of everything in the universe. Researchers have now
De azt hívják a többit
determined
dark
that the
matternek, nem?
remaining 95% is made up of dark matter and dark energy.
De van, aki ezt
This
meg
is a
másnak
rather
mondja,
new
nem?
concept of hypothetical
Ethernek,
matter
meg
which
tudom én,
cannot
meg
be seen
másnak
by
is lehet.
telescopes. The only way we know it could be there is by its gravitational effects on visible matter along with radiation. The existence of dark matter is generally accepted by the mainstream scientific community, yet it is still in the early stages of observation, and so much is unknown. Not being able to see it under any sort of filter doesn't help much either. Number 4. How will it all end? In 1920, poet Robert Frost famously asked in one of his works whether the world will end in fire or ice. Nearly 100 years later, physicists still can't answer this question. Dark energy actually plays a major role in the end of it all. Scientists are currently under the impression that this mysterious force is responsible for accelerating the rate of universal expansion. If it remains constant over time, chances of a big freeze occurring increase drastically. There comes a point when galaxies are spread so far apart from each other that space will seem like a vast wasteland, says scientificamerican.com. There is even a chance that
Most mondanám, hogy
dark
abban, amit
energy
tudunk,
could
de
become
abból,
so
amit
strong
idézőjelben
that not
tudunk,
only would galaxies
abból
be
azt
spread apart,
lehetne
but
mondani,
instead
hogy
torn apart
hogy
by this
kihűl minden,
unseen
nem?
force. This apocalyptic scenario has been rightly dubbed the Big Rip. As you can tell, there is a whole lot of possibilities for an event that will likely take place billions upon billions of years in the future.
Szia,
And it
neked
will
is
be a
szépen.
long time before the list can be narrowed down. Number 3. Why do we dream? The brain continues to be one of the most advanced computers in the world, yet unlike ones constructed out of raw materials, there is much we still don't know about it. For decades, scientists have been performing sleep and dream studies to try and answer this question. There are two key things about sleep that are generally accepted in the scientific community. One, our dream cycle is typically most abundant and best remembered during REM sleep. Two, we all dream, but the frequency at which we do so and the amount of which we remember, if any, varies from person to person. Among leading theories as to why we dream is that it works hand in hand with the sleep process and helps the brain sort information it had stored during the day. This may explain why some dreams are so forgettable, while others can even be fun and allow you to fly and do other extraordinary things. As of right now, multiple theories are circulating without a clear-cut answer. Number 2. Can cancer be cured? This is one of those yes, no, maybe so questions. For this all to make sense, we must first take a look at what exactly cancer is. By definition, cancer is the disease caused by an uncontrolled division of cells in a part of the body. The risk of contracting such a terrible disease varies depending on a number of factors, age in particular. Cancer is something that has been hardwired into all of us, and the older we get, the chance of genes acting abnormally resulting in cancer increases greatly. From what science knows so far, it has been around since the time of the dinosaurs. Millions of dollars go into research for cancer prevention each year rather than a catch-all cure. At this stage in the game, there is too much we are still in the dark about. The good news is that of the 1.6 million cases that are expected to be diagnosed this year in the United States, about half of them are preventable through a change in diet. It is suggested to quit smoking and avoid unhealthy foods for starters. For the time being, it appears that not all cancers can be cured or even prevented. Number 1. Where are we going to store all this carbon? Ever since the Industrial Revolution of the late 18th and 19th centuries, carbon emissions have been skyrocketing. At this time, there is no designated recycling ground for the carbon dioxide released from automobiles and other human activities. This is a major concern for many scientists who calculate the carbon footprint left by humans. It is believed that because such a large amount of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere without very many restrictions, this may result in noticeable changes in climate. By now, it should be obvious that this could have a lasting impact. So, the question remains, what are we going to do to combat the issue? Is there a safe place to store all this carbon?
Te nagyon kemény vagy. Egyrészt, másrészt meg hát reméljük.
Like these top 10 videos? Subscribe by clicking the annotation here and give our video a like. And share the link for this video with all your friends on your favorite social media sites. Have an idea for a future top 10? Leave a comment in the section below.
Na, ez mi? Biztonság kedvéért, ugye?
Guess I'll group up with that guy. Hey there, you wanna group up for the quest? Calm down. Whew. Hey man, can you accept the invite? I'm doing the same quest as you. No. The fuck? Okay. Some people.
Sit down.
What? I just don't get it. What's wrong with this guy? Who hurt him?
Na ki arózta?
Quick, accept the invite, you idiot. I'm on the same quest. I need the mobs. Come on, you dumb loser. I swear, this community is full with dumb, selfish idiots like you. I'm so sick of this. Fuck you. I have a family, 2 wives, 10 children, and 4 full-time jobs, and I have to deal with dumbasses like you in my only 2 minutes of free time a month? Let's see you complete your dumb quest now, idiot. Dude, Paladin, help me. Help me just... I think they're gone. Oh, wait. What is that guy doing? Let's talk about this, please. Fuck, shit. Paladin, please, I forgive you. Please, you can help me with the quest. Just kill me. I'll be right there, guys. Just had to stop by Orgrimmar.
Na, ezt letekülte? Na. 1 óra 58 perc.
Rufelmonger, my friends. This is my choose a main guide
Elvileg
for
igen,
Mortal
ezek
Kombat
olvasók.
1. Mortal Kombat 1's got a pretty big roster, and every character is about as diverse and varied as they've ever been in Mortal Kombat history. Characters can do so much more in this game than they ever could in, say, Mortal Kombat 11. So in this video, I'm going to be going over every character. Don't worry, timestamps are included, so skip to whoever makes sense for you. Although if you skip, leave a like. That helps the video. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to talk about every single character.
Honnan tudjam, hogy melyik karakter az, amelyik nekem, hogyha az a videó lényege, hogy találjam ki, hogy melyik nekem. Nem? Hát az a lényeg, tehát hogy kattintsak oda, hogy melyikre gondolom, mindegyiket meg kell néznem ahhoz, hogy el tudjam dönteni, nem?
So Liu Kang, this is Liu Kang's new era, and you can tell everything's kind of different because Mortal Kombat has color again. Mortal Kombat hasn't had color in a very long time, so thank Lord Liu Kang for that one. So what's Liu all about this time around? He's similar-ish, but then again, he's sort of God now, and thus some of his moveset has changed to reflect that. So just at a glance here, first thing, Liu Kang's sort of always been known for the fireballs, and he's got those in spades. So classic fireball still around, a little bit more of a blue and red rather than just pure fire, because he has got a fire and lightning technically. We have that, we have a low fireball, and this bad boy is a true low, by the way, so you have to block that crouching. And just so you know, when you're in Fireball Wars, because he does kneel to do the move, you can go underneath opponent fireballs. So that is very handy unless you win Fireball Wars. And also, his regular fireball, the EX version just destroys other fireballs. So if you time it correctly, you'll just win every Fireball War. Besides that, he still has air fireballs, and being God now, he's got hell of air fireballs. He ain't just shooting the one, he's shooting a whole bunch. So regular, grounded, and air fireballs, he definitely has the fireball game covered. Don't worry about that. Now, besides that, some of the classical moves have changed up here. So the regular flying kick is preceded by a dragon. So just to showcase how strong he is. You still do the flying kick. The EX version is just the dragon by itself. So you can actually use that as a bit of a launcher. So if you're going for combos, you can launch the enemy up, juggle, and combo out. So that's really cool. Bicycle kick is a little bit different now here. It's also his reversal. It is armored if you enhance it. Still good for combos. Not quite the same as the, although it is actually still here in his fatal blow. It hasn't fully gone away just yet. Don't worry about that. Now, besides all that, Liu Kang, he doesn't have dominant buttons in neutral or anything like that. He's not that kind of character. He never really was, right? But besides his good fireball game, he's always been good at pressure, and he's got that in spades. Mid starter, we can hit confirm all sorts of combos off of it. It's not plus on block like say Mortal Kombat 11, but still, it's there. And now say plus on block. We actually got quite a few plus frames here. Like 3-2 is a string which ends in overhead, and that is advantage on block. Stand 2-2, which is another hit confirm string, is also plus 3 on block. So he can bully you really good. Like if you block this here, it's not your turn necessarily. If you're going to both mash out here at the same time, Liu Kang will win in these scenarios. So you gotta watch out. It's always Liu Kang's turn if he's using the right buttons and the right strings. Also, back 2 is a 10 frame mid, very handy. That's about as fast as you can get for a mid, so no neutral ducking under that. And its string continuation is just straight up a meterless launcher. So if you're looking for easy setups and easy combos here, Liu Kang, he's got some stuff, right? He's very easy and straightforward to work with. You can get elaborate with some of the setups and some of the combos, but if you want to just be straightforward, it is very possible here. His toolset is very strong. Not to mention some of his new moves here. He has a bit of a short range teleport attack, and this move is actually keyed to be somewhat invincible against jump-ins. So if they come in with a jump in, you can either just be not there because he is intangible for part of it, or use some of that invincibility. And the EX version is faster and even more invincible against jumps. And as you can see, it pops him up just a little bit. So comboing it's very easy after the fact. And once again, you get more elaborate, and it's a lot safer than uppercut because uppercut has no invincibility, unlike his teleport. And that's about it. So Liu Kang, I think he's a very solid beginner character. He has great presence from full screen. Everyone loves throwing those fireballs, right? He's got good fireball game. Up close, he's a very strong blender character. He has lots of plus frames, lots of strings that even if you block, it is still his turn. And if he didn't block, well, then it's combo time, right? So he's just very forgiving, very easy to use. And if you're a beginner, I do recommend this character. Now, let's talk Scorpion. So Scorpion's a little different in the new era, as it were. One, he's actually Sub-Zero. Within the context of the story, the Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 2 and up is now Scorpion. And the Sub-Zero in this game is the Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 1. So it's only story bits. Don't worry. Still got the spear, still got teleports, all that Scorpion stuff still there. Just a different person under the mask this time around. And well, hey, speaking of exactly that, right? So the spear is still the spear. He still says get over here. That kind of stuff's all that there, right? Some differences this time around is the spear is a bigger part of the moveset. It even affects his normals. So stuff like stand 2 is, in my opinion, one of the best moves in the game because the range is absurd for the relative speed of the move. And if it connects, well, whatever combos you can dream up are very easy. Very easy hit confirms, insane range. And hey, speaking of insane range. So yeah, that's back 3. And that's almost a full screen low. Not quite, about 85% of the screen. But yeah, he can trip you up a lot further away than the usual sweep distance, to say the least. That's one of the biggest things about this version of the character is his effective range is much higher than it usually is. Some other things to note here. So usually neutral ducking took a lot of the teeth out of Scorpion because you could go into the spear and you go into the teleport. This time around, just a note, EX spear is a mid. So there is no ducking that. If you do the regular spear, sure, but if you do the enhanced spear, he will get you. Other things to note here, the Hellfire move returns. So this is a tracking low. Wherever the opponent is, it will hit them. They have to be in the air to escape this move or otherwise block. The enhanced version, though, is unblockable. You simply have to take the damage. That's all there is to it. Now, unlike the regular version, there's no flinch. Like the enemy doesn't visibly get hit, but you take the initial damage and there's a little bit of DOT after the fact. So if you're looking for a near guarantee way to close out a round, that's a really good way to do it. And keeping coming back to the spear, because that is such an iconic part of the character's moveset. So you can use the spear in a lot of new fun ways, like say swing it around in a big fiery blaze, or also you can use it in the air.
Hát itt kombók vannak teljka, de azokat nehéz végigcsinálni.
Meterless mid, that's really good. That's also safe on block, by the way. And you can follow up here and then do basically air spear and bring them in. And if you choose
azért szerintem lehet itt is nagyon durva kombókat. Nem tudom, hogy mik a legnagyobb damage-es kombók, melyik karaktereknek nyilván. De látom, hogy mondjuk ilyen több mint fél HP-s kombót simán lehet. Ha végig tudod csinálni, meg van rá lehetőséged.
So if you want that classic feel plus a bunch extra, Scorpion absolutely has it here. You can still teleport like a madman. It's a high, so they will neutral duck out. Watch out. If you want teleport fake outs, that's now baked into the moveset. Enhanced teleport is the fake out, so you can just empty do it and then throw the enemy or hit him or whatever you want to do. But yeah, all the classic Scorpion stuff is here, and it feels very strong. Sub-Zero. If you want a Sub-Zero experience in a Mortal Kombat game, you'd be pressed to find a better one than in this one. So he's a bit of a mix mash. So we have Sub-Zero, the defensive wall, because Ice Clone is absolutely in the game, FYI. And if you want to go a little crazy, you also have triple Ice Clone if you want to spend some bar, right? So the defensive wall aspect of the character is there. It doesn't last too long, which fair enough, because there's very few moves complained about more in fighting games in general than Sub-Zero's Ice Clone. But we have that. That's good. But we also have stuff like overhead launchers. So we have the classic defensive aspect of Sub-Zero in this game, and we have the monstrous 50-50 coin flip guest character that is also there. So either find yourself frozen if you're too aggressive against a clone, or find your head caved in because you were not aggressive enough against Sub-Zero's very powerful overhead offense, right? So we have both aspects of the legacy of Sub-Zero here. Very powerful defense, very powerful offense. So let's talk, Sub-Zero can throw the ice ball and freeze the enemy and get full combo. That's still there. Enhanced freeze, by the way, destroys all projectiles and is a mid, so you cannot neutral duck it. We still have classic ice slide, and yes, classic ice slide is still a low, so we gotta watch those toes. And once again, the more you're watching those random lows, eventually get cracked by that overhead. So we got some of those classic toys, sure, and I just note Ice Clone 2, you can do wall jumping. Besides that, we got new toys like dive kicks. So that's very handy. You can jump backwards while doing it as well. And if you enhance it, it becomes a ground pound, which launches the enemy. And hey, naturally, if you're launching the enemy, you can get juggles and all that after the fact, right? So very interesting. Especially if you're just jumping backwards or neutral jumping and catching with a big button, it's a good way to punish them. And besides that, he has actual proper projectile, not just the ice ball, which is good, but he has Ice Clone offensively. Now this bad boy is a mid, which means you cannot neutral duck it. And one of the fun things about this is it clashes with projectiles. So if you're looking for the quote-unquote fireball war, you don't got to worry about accidentally just kind of losing out. Now here, the one weakness as you see here, it does not quite go full screen. So if you're looking for the full screen fireball war, rely on the EX ice ball, which destroys other projectiles, or just try other ways of working your way in. And while we're here, yeah, Phone does destroy projectiles as well. Another interesting addition to the moveset is Deadly Vapors. So this move tracks, hits the enemy wherever they are, doesn't do a lot of damage, but the idea here is the enhanced version does slow them enough. This is where you're gonna get a lot of your combos from. EX ice ball normally is too slow, so this is kind of your go-to freeze move. And of course, naturally, you get your freeze, then you get your combos, you go in, easy peasy, there you go, right? Easy combo damage. And if you're looking to be a little sassy, if you want to dump some meter here, you can actually get a multiple times per combo. It's really up to you how much you want to burn, but if you want to burn all that meter, the option is there. So yeah, Sub-Zero, like a lot of characters in this game, is sort of a greatest hits of the character, and it's absolutely to his benefit because he has a lot of fun stuff going on. Now, Natara has not been in a Mortal Kombat game in a hot minute, and she does have a celebrity guest voice actor in Megan Fox. Although, that's not necessarily the appeal of the character. What the appeal of the character is this. She is the master of the skies, as she has an 8-way air dash. And that's kind of a big deal when it comes to mobility. Now, obviously there's some other stuff, right? But the hammer at home. Something like that, right? So she has, if you want like a double jump or whatever, like the effective equivalency of it, is she can jump, stay in the air, and keep following through, right? So her ability to traverse the air is absolutely unmatched in this game. And the thing too is you can stay in the air as long as you got meter. The first dash is free, as it were, but if you want to spend more meter, every additional dash
Kicsit többet mondana ilyen dolgokat, mint például ennél is, hogy hogy levegőbe kurva jó, meg mit tudom én. Mondjuk amúgy mond egy-kettőt, de úgy érzem, hogy nem eleget. Akkor lehet, hogy könnyebben eldönthet egy csomó dolgot, nem?
And there we go, right? So easy combo, all thanks to being able to air dash while I'm in the air and comboing them. And much the same, Ringo completely different air routes. Her ability to combo and her general freedom of combo structure is actually among the best in the game. She can do so much thanks to the air dashes. Many of her moves also leave her airborne for the purposes of air dashes, like stand 3, back 2. So she can do a lot of shenanigans with this. Not to mention she also has an aerial dive kick, because once again this is an aerial based character, right? Enhanced dive kick also bounces the enemy, which is great for combos. And if you want to be tricky with dive kick, you can also use the basically air reset yourself. So you can use it to purposely whiff a combo, land, and then get the combo on the other end, right? So along with the flight, the dive kick gives a lot of freedom to her movement and just general combo structure. Now, besides all the flight stuff, which I know is cool, she's a vampire yo, right? And that's definitely kicked into the move set. So she can, tap her claws, she can spit blood, all that cool stuff. But the big thing is the sacrifice. So she can self-damage herself to give herself a buff. And while this buff is active, certain things change up. Like that spit becomes a DOT. So you'll do additional damage past the original spit. The bite, you look at the health here, we just regained some of that health, didn't we? So while you have the buff up, your bite actually restores your health. So she's actually the lowest health character in the game as far as I can tell. And she, on top of being able to self-damage, give herself the buff, can also heal herself thanks to this. And not the least of which, the enhanced version just steals health from the enemy by being near the enemy. You don't gotta do anything special. It automatically steals their health. They will take damage, you will gain health, and they can't do anything about it other than hitting you or not being beside you. And naturally, think about that up while you're doing your combos. Your combos are going to do more damage here, you're going to regain health while you're biting the enemy, all that kind of stuff, so things really work out in your court. Not the least of which, it unlocks an all-new move, which is this giant blood-based projectile. So it is aimable to a degree, and if you get both hits, it actually does over 10%, which is a lot. But even if you quote-unquote whiff, its coverage of the screen is very, very big. And the enhanced version just does absolutely absurd damage for a projectile, 15%. Now for all these moves, be it the spit, the big projectile, the health steal, once you use the move, the buff is gone, right? But it still is very strong, and the X buff, just since it automatically damages the enemy and steals health into you, I think it's one of her best uses of meter, besides just getting extra flights in. So air mobility, very strong. The one thing I guess is a little odd about her,
ebből kiindulva amúgy jókorinak tűnik, de nem tudom, ez a sok levegőbe baszakodás.
Block high a lot, I guess is the answer, right? Because her lows aren't too threatening, but yeah, just that general mobility in the air. Like, she's gonna be able to stay in the air a long time. She's gonna be able to traverse more distance than any other character in the game with just a simple jump for the most part. Her buff mechanic is very interesting.
Az a baj, ezt egy keci hosszú, még kétszeresen nézzük, de még is
nagyon sok. If they block whatever, right? You're still draining health, you're still dealing damage, you're gaining health, right?
Lehet azt kéne, hogy jó, tovább menni.
Now Rain's a very interesting character. So on its surface, Rain is the zone. He's got a stock fireball, knocks down on hit, by the way. He can hold it and charge it to do even more damage, and then that crumbles. And if it crumbles, you better believe you can follow up after the fact. And while he's holding it and charging, he can also dash cancel. Dash cancel for free. Doesn't cost any meter. So base layer level 1, pretty cool, right? Now this, he also has big water bottles, and you can aim these close, far. And this is a low, and also if it hits, you're gonna get comboed. So even from full screen, if I catch you with this bad boy, you better believe at bare minimum I get a projectile in. And I can do a lot better than that too. I could say, make it rain, as it were, right? So he has a very, very quick giant projectile, which is aimable again. You can do close, you can do far. This is a mid, by the way, so no neutral ducking this bad boy. You see that rain, you better stand up while you're blocking real fast, because if you're crouching, you're gonna get smoked. And he can also hold it and delay it, or he can just straight up cancel as well, right? So holding it, canceling it, not committing to anything, and then say if you want to get really goofy, like then go for a throw or something like that, right? Got a lot of options. That's his base projectile suite. So a high, a low, which leads to full combos and tracks anywhere on the screen, as long as you aim it correctly anyways, and a gigantic F-off mid projectile. That's pretty good as far as the usual zoning goes. And if you're like, well, I believe I'll jump these fireballs, I'm not gonna deal with that mess, right? Well, he also has an up fireball. Spoiler. He also has a massive hitbox. Very active, very difficult to jump, so he can easily call out your jumps and then set up shop again. And then it's like, okay, well, I'll just outzone him, right? I got fireballs. Well, the thing about that is he's better at it than you are, right? He has a water shield that just dissipates all projectiles. So he can set up shop, hide behind it, and then just freely zone you back, right? So you gotta watch out. And also the enhanced version, if you choose to enhance it, it travels with him. So yeah, that's gonna be an issue. Like in case it's anywhere unclear up to this point, Rain is the guy who throws lots of fireballs, right? He is a zoner. And to help with that, he's a wizard this time around instead of a ninja. He can set up portals, and if you set up a portal, you can teleport to those portals. Now, if you do it on the ground, FYI, he's always airborne. So if you want to set it up and then teleport to it right away, you can always get like a jump 1 or jump 2 in, because it'll always leave him airborne for a couple frames. And he can also set up multiple portals, and you get to choose which one you want to teleport to. You can either go to the first one or the second one. It's just a different motion, right? So you can trick people out with teleport portal and go into. And say you're lucky enough.
Túl sok minden, ez nem az én karakterem.
And you can detonate those portals, and basically a giant beam will go between the two, and if the opponent's in between that beam, they get hit. So that's a lot of good stuff, right? That's just like one thing, not necessarily gameplay, but I think he animates beautifully, like just his general moves and all the water flowing everywhere. It looks like $1 million. It's really good. And hey, speaking of $1 million, he does have double overhead launcher, so it's something that you gotta watch out for. Oh, and just for fun's sake, he also has a low launcher too. So he himself, by himself, can't do too much. This is one of those deals where pick an appropriate cameo, right? And you get a lot of extra damage off of it. But yeah, so on top of all this ridiculous zoning stuff I showed you, he has an actual 50-50 overhead low game to work with. And yes, by the way, Rain's Rain, so the around the world kick is still very much in action, even if he's a wizard now.
Az a baj, már nem működik ez, az csak akkor működik, hogyha haveroddal játszol havonta egyszer, nem?
And also someone just has really like sick anime for you. Now, from one zoner to another, Shang Tsung. So Shang Tsung, out of the gate, he's a stance character. So he has the young form.
That's Shang Tsung.
And unlike many other stance characters in many other games, it's very
Mi
easy to
ez?
change into them. So say I
Öreg emberé változik,
As long
ez
as
mi
you
ez a
like-
kamu
Well, he was
Cheng
stand
Tsang?
one. I can switch, stand two, I can switch, right? You're allowed to freeform change while you're doing anything. So it's not difficult, you don't need to set up. You can do it whenever you want, very easily, shifting between the two stances.
Stance váltogat, hát ez se az
So what's
enyém.
the difference? So a lot of core moves are the same between the two characters. There is differences in the normals, sure, yes. So basic example, right? But say stand 2-4 is a little different here. So regular Shang Tsung, young Shang Tsung, lows the enemy back here. Old Shang Tsung, second hits a low instead. Small differences like that, right? Comparatively, young Shang Tsung back 1-2, big launcher. Old Shang Tsung blows the enemy.
Igazából bármelyik lehet az én karakterem, hogyha így játszanék eleget.
So young Shang is sort of classic Shang, like Mortal Kombat 3 because you can shoot 1 fireball, you can shoot 2 fireballs, or you can shoot 3 fireballs. And you may notice here I'm not spending any meter or anything. I can just shoot 3 fireballs because I want to shoot 3 fireballs. I can shoot 2 or I can shoot 1, whatever I want to do. The option is mine, and mine alone. And besides that, he's a bit of a sneaky boy here. Speaking of Mortal Kombat 3, bed of spikes, and this is basically a retreating move. So it obviously hits the enemy, sure enough, but he's going backwards while doing it. So if you're looking to basically like escape or run away, this is a very strong way to do it. You can run away, gain space, and go back to throwing those fireballs. And he's got a little Wolverine in him, a little Berserker Barrage, right? So quarter circle forward, knocks the enemy back. So these are exclusive to young Shang. Now Old Shang here, he can't throw the regular fireball so much. He throws ground fireballs.
Tipikusan így, amit látva, meg hallva, meg ez is kb. Úgy épül fel, hogy aki így tud játszani, azoknak sokkal jobb, vagy nem is az, hogy sokkal jobb, azoknak jobb lehet az ilyen kontrollosabb karakter, akik meg annyira nem, azok inkább agresszív karakternek lehetne, vagy lehet kezdőbe jobb szerintem.
Say modern NBA 11 Shang Tsung. And he can throw a ground fireball far away, he can throw close to him, he can throw full screen, and of course, naturally enough, he's got those triple fireballs as well.
Okosak ezek, direkt nem raknak bele egy csomó karaktert, hogy aztán majd berakhassák később.
Also, while we're in the air, he's got
Nagy geci, inkább mondhatnánk, hogy nem okosak, hanem gecik.
Air fireball may be a little bit of a misnomer, but same deal here, you can also control space on them, they can come in angles they want. Versus young Shang, you can throw air fireballs too, but they're more like the standard fare. There is a bit of an arc, so if you are close to the ground and close, you can hit a standing enemy. It is just a little tricky though. Now, Old Shang, instead of the runaway move, he has a serum stab, so that's just kind of like a regular strike. Although if you enhance it, well, not to give away trade secret here, but Shang Tsung can turn into the enemy character. And that's what happens when you enhance. It takes 2 meters because not only are you turning into the enemy character, you are getting a damage buff. So normally, an uppercut would be 140 damage. And this is regardless of Mortal Kombat staple. But while you are effectively them, 168, you get damage buff. All your moves are buffed. You're basically playing a superior version of the opponent's character. And don't worry, regardless if you're young, Old Shang, whatever, you can freely turn the enemy whenever you want. So that classic aspect of the character is still there. So don't worry about that. And whenever you want to, you can always switch back as well. And the final move here that's unique to Old Shang Tsung, he has a claw too as well, but it's just more of a big F-off hit than young Shang's more Berserker Barrage. So yeah, very free form to switch between two. Once again here, back with two. Launches with young, doesn't launch with old, right? But I can just do this, and as I'm hitting, I'm turning into old version of the character. And then, say I'm going to be a little silly here, right? Here we go back, right? Like, I can just keep juggling you as long as I got meter with all the ground fireballs. And I started that all as young Shang. So zoner for sure, you can't freely do both the ground fireballs and regular fireballs, but once again,
menjünk tovább. Már sokat nézünk belőle.
And it works both that way in guy. Now Tanya, a lot of the returning cast favors their legacy versions, right? Tanya is one of the most infamous war criminals of fighting game history with her appearance in Mortal Kombat X. So she does not play like her Mortal Kombat X self. She's actually quite new and different, not least of which, well, that should give you an idea, right? Her range in this game, just off basic normals, is actually fairly substantial. So now let's talk one of the big things here, fireballs. Almost everyone has a fireball in this game. So her base fireball, legitimately nothing to write home about. Like, enhanced version's faster, is a mid, so you can't duck it as easily. But she has air fireball. And one thing that's traditionally been strong generally in fighting game history, and especially in NetherRealm Studios games, is the downward angled fireball. So if you're looking to get space on her, it's going to be difficult, because this is very safe on block as well. Like, if I hit you and you block, I'm only -5, Depending on how low I hit you to the ground, I can be -1. If I aim at your toes correctly. Even a badly spaced version, -11 at this distance, pretty much nobody's going to punish that. So she can toss these pretty willy-nilly. It's hard to get in the usual way. It can be somewhat difficult to jump depending on the angle. So just having this is very strong and very belligerent. Not the least of which, the enhanced version causes a crumple, and if you can crumple someone, you can get combos after the fact. So watch out for that. Also, yeah, her sweep. So once again, she's got the big tri-section staff, and her normals benefit from the range greatly. Like a very far-reaching 13-frame mid, that's almost criminal how far it reaches away, given its relative speed. It's actually ridiculous. And yes, naturally, she can do strings and get full combos from that also as well. Now, one of the things that's interesting here is she has a bit of a buff. So it has 2 stages. If you just do it twice, or you can hold it and try to get all in one go. And if you enhance it, it makes it just go faster. And what this does is unlock her old broken teleport. So you only get 1 go of it, but given the general strength of the move, it's good, right? So anytime you get a split second here, just build up a stack, right? When you get 2 stacks, then you can use the teleport, and you can go for like whenever you want, special cancels and everything. Say you're doing strings and get blocked, you can say, you know what, nah, it's still my turn, I don't want my turn in, right? And you just keep going on the other side of the enemy. So yeah, the Tanya teleport quite strong. Also, the enhanced version does indeed launch the enemy for full air combos as well. So it's just something to just build up a quick stack every now and then when you can, because just having it on the table is just always quite strong. Now, besides that, when she wants to set up shop as
már játéknak a bétája az már régen fönn volt, vagy régen kín volt elvileg. Nem tudom mióta, de hát jó, ilyen szinten alapból igazad van.
You can get the more traditional counter, or you can go for some spacing. Depending on how big the wind up of the move that you countered, the teleport might actually lead to a guaranteed punish, and then you get more overall damage. So it has a bunch of cool new stuff, right? But yeah, don't worry, at least she still has drill kick, right? So that still connects.
Amúgy ez a Tanya, ezekből kiindulva akár lehet egy lehetőség.
It's not quite the same, as she takes a ride on the staff and just starts kicking you all crazily here. So that's a little bit different, but yeah, I guess that goes with the fact that she uses the staff now. Like this. What is that? What crazy special move is that? That's not even a special. That's just back 2. So she can control the skies in a very ridiculous way thanks to staff. Range is the name of the game here. If she catches you, you better believe you're getting bopped. That's how it is. She controls the skies and hits on the way back 2. So even if you whiff the initial part, she'll still get you. And sometimes whiffing is part of the game plan. Oh, stand 2. I whiffed it. What a dummy I am. Oh, wait. Gotcha. So she has a hit throw off her stand 2, right? And she can just go for it. And it has incredible range. Like, ideally, you don't even have to, like, get up close, use the combo. You can just abuse the whiff and go for the string right away, right? It's a high, so it's duckable, sure, but you know, you take what you can get. It's got some good range, and if they duck it at max range, it's not like they're really gonna get punished because you can block pretty quick after the fact, right? So your ability to do that, stand 3 once again too, has very good range, special cancelable. She has a lot of control of the screen thanks to the staff. So that's one of the more interesting aspects of the character is she's got the range. And heck, even say if you're neutral ducking, try to avoid this guy, right? You gotta watch out because she also has pretty much full screen lows as well, right? So she can catch you a lot of different ways. So she has a lot of fun ways to control the screen. And once again, let's go back to that air fireball too, because that's really, really good. A lot of fun ways to control the screen. And if you're willing to just, you know, slowly build up over the course of the match, whenever you get to
Jó, amúgy tanyázni
Princess
lehet
Katana, she is
lehetőség.
one of the game's designated zoners. So yes, you toss them fans. That's definitely one of the aspects of the character. And now a lot of the fan tosses can be a little bit different. Like say, obviously the base fan, to get around it, you just duck it, right? Enhanced fans, not so much, because not only will they hit mid, they also pop the enemy up and you can get follow-ups from it, and if you're close enough, you can get full combos. So we have that. We have the traditional fan lift. It's a bit different this time around, though, as she doesn't just wave at the air in front of her. It's an actual projectile, and it's aimable as well. So you can get the regular version, which goes right in the air, difficult to jump. You can have a close version, and also one that is far. And as you can see, it's from pretty far away. So you can actually, once again, bot people with multiple hits off one projectile. More projectiles, we got, don't you worry. She can actually have another aimable projectile, which comes in an upwards arc and comes down to the ground. So once again, this kind of arc, if you're jumping, well, you're gonna get hit. So if you're looking to jump your way in here, either just from far out, you're gonna get bopped, or if she does while she's closer up, you still get bopped. So it basically is part of the anti-air part of the character. She controls the regular zone space with the regular fan toss. You want to do fan lift, that controls the air in one angle, depending on how you aim it. And if you do the fancy flick, yes, that is the name of the move, then you control a different aspect of the air, right? So the name of the game is projectiles, and the enhanced version also pops up the enemy, by the way. So you're looking for some base, and get some base where it gets something more involved. And don't worry, things like her square wave still. Now, General Shao, we're in big boy territory. How do we know we're in big boy territory besides?
Most visszaállítanám normára.
Something like this. Back to. So back to.
Azt hinnéd, hogy lassítom.
Go into itself a couple times, which is handy. Now, normally, if a move launches, it's more negative than not. For General Shao, though, that back two launcher is actually plus on block. So if you block this, your reward for blocking it is if we both mash right away, I'm still going to win. So that's how we know we're in big boy territory, because big boys impose their will on the enemy. Now, you may notice, not trying to be subtle about it here, he's got a big F-off axe. And the axe is definitely a big part of the character. So for certain things like stand 2, his stand 2 range is absurd. So if he catches you with a stand 2, and more often than not, this distance, you're probably doing a slower move than this. This is a very fast move. This is 8 frames. This is wickedly fast. So if you're going for a slower mid or something, try to, you know, contest at this range, he will beat you and win. And then at that point, we're going to Combo City. That's what's going to be happening next. And his combos are easy and effective. So I guess that's one of the big things out of the gate there. You may have noticed I dropped my axe on the ground. That's actually part of the character. He's not quite a full stance character, but when his axe is on the ground, it does eventually come back over time, FYI. His axe is on the ground, he gets a different move set. Now, we talked about stand 2, and it's very fast, and it is, but a lot of the other axe moves are not quite as fast. A lot of them are more on the slow side of things, right? Which is fine. That's how it goes. But when the axe is on the ground, he gets new normals, and these normals are quite quick, including back 1, which is a launcher. So normally his regular back 1 is a mid, and not the fastest mid in the game. It is slow, unfortunately, right? Them's the breaks. But when the axe is gone, back 1 comes a much faster mid that launches. It's completely safe on block, and of course, naturally, do whatever combos. Part of your combo structure, by the way, is you can throw people into the axe and then spike them back down to the ground. You got to be somewhat near the axe. If you're a little too far away, the move won't come out. And he has multiple moves that use the axe on the ground, by the way. Like, say, this bad boy here. And him picking the axe up and slamming it is also advantage on block, by the way. And actually, when it's on the ground, you can pick it up whenever he wants. That's how it goes. Or you can just slam it in a big full-screen earthquake that's a low. And you got to block low every time. It hits the entirety of the screen. And if you happen to be very unfortunate and it's above your head, it's an overhead, then a low. So you have to stand block and immediately crouch block. And if you fail that, if you get crouch block first, you just get hit. If you stand block it successfully, but then are too slow to crouch block, you still get hit. So you really got to watch out. This is actually one of the most deadly things that can happen to you in the game is be directly underneath this bad boy. Because you got to be very quick on going one block to the other. Another thing he has is
lehetne ezt megnézni, de ez is lehet okés.
Reiko. So Reiko is another character returning that has not been in Mortal Kombat in a hot minute. And then your first question is, does he throw the ninja stars? And yes, you better believe he still throws those ninja stars. And he can throw a lot of them if you're willing to spend the meter. Which is good because they're all mids, so that means no neutral ducking it. And now, just to throw it out there, he is one of 2 characters in the game with a command grab. The thing, though, to note, this command grab is a high. So this means if the opponent is crouching, the grab will whiff. You have to be standing or blocking for it to hit. So Reiko, he's got a thing against people who crouch too much. Now, there is the enhanced version of the grab. That is a true mid. It is the only command grab in the game, only throw in the game, really, that is a true mid. However, it does take 2 meters, which, for my money, is a lot. But, you know, that's the game. But he is the holder of the only mid grab in the game. So if you're neutral ducking and he's willing to spend 2 meters, he can still grab you. So Reiko doesn't like people who crouch duck. Thankfully, he's got some really good ways to deal with that. Like, say his kicks. You see we got this, like, cool particle effect on him, right? I guess that means he's kicking extra hard. This is not for show. This is the actual range of the move. So, like, from that far away, I can connect. So, his ability to control space, you know, despite being nominally like the guy what has the grab, his ability to control space is actually phenomenal. He can just hit you from distances that are mildly ridiculous. And basically all of his grounded kicks are like that. So he's got some range.
Kicsit olyan, mint a Tekkenben a rank.
With a counter
Vagy nem tudom már, hogy
attack,
mondják.
which is pretty basic, but if you enhance it, then it leaves the enemy standing, and you can get combos from it.
Legalábbis az a része, ahogy ugatott párat.
He has a command run. So if you hold it, well, he'll just keep running whenever you go for a low. And you can also cancel out of it to fake people out. And if you hold up, it actually becomes, instead of a low, a mid launcher, which naturally you can combo from. He's got various reversible buttons here, all sorts of easy hit convertible combos. So meterlessly. Sindel is definitely a zoner's zoner. So we got the traditional fireball. We got a low hitting fireball as well. So you do have to crouch block that. And what she has is, I gotta say, pound for pound, the best air fireball in the game. Not for on its face value, you know, you jump and you do it because it just goes across, right? Whatever. But it's the instant air version, the one where you do it very low to the ground for a few reasons. So for one, you can do it real low to the ground. So a standing opponent, if they're just walking forward, will still get hit by it, right? So they still have to neutral duck, which is, you know, a problem. And since it's just a smidge higher, if you do it like this, it's also much more difficult to jump because you might go into it versus a more traditional fireball on the ground. You know, you might be able to pass over it. And the one thing specifically about this, you can do it so low to the ground, like right there. I believe it's even a little bit lower than the actual normal fireball, like where you're just standing. So like if you do it so low to the ground, you can, it just becomes obnoxious. Not the least of which is, say we purposely whiff here, right? We'll purposely whiff a few times. Notice how the distance between the two characters was created, right? So while you're being annoying and throwing your instant air fireballs, she's constantly moving backwards. This is shades of Mortal Kombat 9 Cabal.
Smoke.
Smoke is our mix-up character and has all sorts of guess high, guess low nonsense. Now in a lot of games, you're like, okay, I'll work my way in, I'll start guessing high, low, but this is Mortal Kombat. We don't do that. We're a little bit crazier than the other games. So if I want to mix you up with, say, a low, okay, there we go. My teleport attack, which I can do in the air, by the way, is a low. Sure, why not? And say I'm full screen, I want to hit you with that overhead. There we go. So I can throw my smoke grenade, and wherever you are on the screen, once it passes your threshold, I will smoke you with an overhead. And, you know, we want to spend a little meter, that low. We can get air combos from it. And that overhead, we can actually fake out the overhead. Oh, where'd I go? So now instead of the overhead, I'm just actually invisible. And of course, when you're invisible, guessing low or guessing overhead gets a lot harder when you can't even see what's happening. And of course, he has strings, right? Strings that go low into overheads. We got overheads into lows. That back two, by the way, overhead, very long range for what it is. Very good. Now, one of the interesting things about him is his rush special, Vicious Vapors. So he just kind of rushes at you and hits you. Interesting enough, honestly.
Amúgy ez se tűnik rosszul.
While he's fully smoked, he is intangible, cannot be hit. And if you enhance it, he is projectile invincible on frame 1. So his ability to just circumvent people's stuff is pretty strong. And what's really fun is you can cancel out of it. You don't have to commit to the move. Now, Reptile, fan favorite. So how is Reptile working out in Mortal Kombat 1? Well, he's a ninja, a human ninja, except for when you do any classic reptile move, then he turns into the reptile. So he has Spit. Now Spit is more of a close range tool, enhanced version a little further, but it is not a full screen fireball, FYI. And the classic Force Ball is returning as well, but once again, a little more short range. You can control it closer, you can control it further. The far version is like 90% of the screen, not quite full screen. And if you're willing to burn a little meter, you can have that nice slow one that you can just, walk behind. Or you can have an extra fast one, and all Force Balls do launch the enemy meterlessly or not. You don't have to spend bar on it, but it is a good way to launch and then get combos from. And Reptile's slide still intact, although it's a bit more vicious this time around. It's like a gator death roll, but it still hits low, so they gotta watch their toes. That part of the character is still very much intact. So now the thing that we've seen with Reptile Special, that he can kind of shapeshift in between forms, is a lot of his normals heavily benefit from this. So this is basic stand 3. You would not expect a stand 3 to hit from this far away, right? But for Reptile, it does. It has range and a half, to say the least. So many of his normals, he will turn into the reptile, as it were. And generally speaking, when they do, he gets big range buff. Like his uppercut is maybe, I would say, among the best uppercuts in the game. The arc is gigantic, very strong, just plain better than a lot of other uppercuts, thanks to the fact that he turns into the reptile and gets a much bigger hitbox. Although he doesn't even have to necessarily turn the reptile to have range. Like, look at his sweep. Yeah, that's kind of messed up, right? His sweep range is ridiculous. Like, it has no business hitting from this fun in this game. So Raiden, despite being a new man, as it were, in this game, he's just a man, he's no longer a god. He's still classic Raiden in a lot of ways, although a couple new tricks and some interesting strings. So basically, if y'all want to shoot lightning, you can still shoot lightning, although his lightning tosses here is a little different because you can hold it. And the more you hold it, the more lightning you get. And the enhanced version, if you want to hold it, it charges that lightning a lot faster. So if you just want to dump a lot of trash onto the screen, Raiden's actually exceptional at it. Now don't worry, some things are still some things, right? If you want to Superman people, it's good. The air version now kind of arcs downwards a bit. So if you're from full screen, you can kind of arc downward into the enemy, which is good and bad depending on the situation. Since it doesn't go straight across, it means you can't hit someone who is also in the air from across the screen, but it's the new era. Things like classic combo extensions are still very much to be found in the game, so don't worry like that. You can shock them, spend a little meter, bounce them, keep recomboing. He also has a little bit of electromagnetism, so down back 3 is a move that will actually suck in the opponent against their will. So it doesn't have like full screen range. They got to be a little bit in that radius, but it's very interesting. Also, the enhanced version, if it whiffs, you can just literally toss it at him. So it gives him another layer to work with. Now, I mentioned strings, so he's got some interesting stuff here. He's got among the best low strings in the game. So just forward 4, very fast startup for what it is. It goes in double low, and then, full combo extension, all that fun stuff, right? So that's really handy. Back 2, traditionally an overhead for him. Still an overhead, and this is fairly fast for what it is, and also almost completely safe on block, only very few. Now, Kung Lao, this is a very interesting version of the character. So a lot of the classic stuff is there, but we're not handicapped by variations anymore, so you just get to have all the moves. So hey, we got Buzzsaw Hat Toss, and this knocks down on hit. And any projectile that knocks down on hit is a good projectile. But of course, it's a high, so oh well, I can just neutral duck it, right? But good thing, we got classic Hat Toss as well, which is a mid. And yes, like you expect, you can aim it high, you can aim it lower to the ground, whatever you want. So he has both options, Buzzsaw and regular Hat Toss. So whatever you think is appropriate for the moment, you got to work with it. Other things like Dive Kick, you better believe it's still there. The enhanced dive kick is a bounce, so you get all sorts of combo ability from it, which is really good. Also, we got one of our new specials here, the Shaolin Fist. So those Hitman punches he's sort of famous for, now just baked in as a regular special. So he has a suite of interesting normals, like say back 3, so quick mid, and has an overhead follow-up and a low follow-up, right? So that kind of stuff writes itself, basically. That's good, that's interesting. And not a lot of damage, but it's good to like sneak out a win, right? Just want to scam someone out. It's a good way to do it. And speaking of scamming people out, back one. Now, I know this looks like exactly nothing, right?
Arra tetszett.
Now, Ashra, this is our resident sword character. Now, to note, this is not the default skin for the character, but this is the skin that has the hat. And if you're an old timer like me, you know Ashra needs to have a hat. So there we are. Anyways, sword means long effing range. Her normal stuff like 4-2 is basically just a singleton poke, but it's a singleton poke that like other characters cannot contest the range of, right? So this is part of the deal you're getting in. You got the sword, so therefore you got the range. Also, stuff like her back 3, which is a low, amazing range for a low. So that's one thing out of the gate. She's got the range. And just good range generally too. Like stand 2 hits from a very appreciable distance away. And you can go into strings, get combos, all that kind of stuff. Very fast for what it is. People have to be ducking from ranges they usually don't do ducking attacks from to get under it. So characters will struggle to deal to and contest with just a lot of her buttons. So I like talking about buttons. I like talking about normals. That's always one of my favorite parts about fighting games. But don't let me bury the lead here. Ashra is a stance character. So we default to light stance, which has its own set of moves. We can also enter dark stance. And you can switch between the two whenever you want. Dark stance is the non-default stance and will eventually go away.
Ja, ezt is láttam tegnap, de nem tudtam, hogy most ez mennyire elszontos.
But there's a gimmick. So let's look at one of her special moves. So it's cortical forward 1. So in and of itself, on the light stance, it's a slow fireball. Not quite full screen, unless you enhance it. And there you go. It's a mid, which means no neutral ducking it. And it's very tall, so it's actually mildly difficult to jump, right? And then if we switch stances here, now the same move is a ground-based fireball, which is a low. You have to crouch block this. Also, it is aimable. Has 3 distances. And given just the overall range of the move, it's actually sword flurry, right? And it's effectively the same between the two stances. However, in dark stance, because it's multiple hits, it applies multiple stacks of the debuff, right? And conversely, the light version will burn all those debuffs. So it makes it do a lot more damage than it normally would. So not...
Hát innen azt mondtam volna,
now,
hogy
Garrus. Once again, this is not his
nem
default
hiszem,
outfit like Ashra. I just think he looks really sick in this outfit, like a big muscle-bound genie. Garrus, the best thing I can say is someone was out to earn their paycheck on this character. This character is ridiculous. So let's just run through it, I guess, right? So some of the basic stuff, like does he still have that time stop? Sure. Has the basic version. And you can choose which side you land on. The enhanced version, as you remember it, you get your hits in, they explode up, and you can dunk them down to the ground, right? And that's one thing right there. So he has all sorts of aerial grapples now. Depending on what air combos you want to do, he can choose which side to dunk you down on. He actually has a variety of different throws in the air as well. Like, whatever you want to work with here, he has multiple air grabs, right? So Garrus being the big muscle brown boy that he is, he definitely is showing it. Also, not the least of which, he inherits one of the 2 command grabs in the game. There's really not that many grabs in the game. So the thing about this is gives him a lot of forward space. A lot of screen is traveled overall, which is very handy. And you choose which side. And the general range of it is very long for a grab, as you can see here. He does not need to be beside the enemy to do it. The weakness, as it were, is it is a high, so therefore you are allowed to neutral duck it. Although that's considered, of the 2 command grabs in the game, him and Reiko, I do think his is a lot better, if only for the range. And hey, once again, even if you're crouching, if you block, that means you will get grabbed, right? So if you're scared and blocking, he'll still get you. What's different about this is the corner. So by itself, the throw does 120, which is 1% more than a basic throw, right? If you do it in the corner, okay, whatever. But if you are in the corner, on either side, it doesn't matter, and you throw them out of the corner, the animation changes, and you do a lot more damage. You do almost 20%. So basically, if you get him in the corner, that's a potentially like game-ending scenario. If you get grabbed, you're taking a lot of damage. So watch out for that. Which means you best stop blocking, start hitting buttons, right? Best start spamming. And of course, If you know they're spamming, then it's time to blow them up for it. Now that's the understandable stuff, right? Let's get silly. So back forward 3. What is this? So there's a bit of a portal here, and I'm made of the sands of time. So what happens when this is up? It does only last a certain amount of time.
Piece of passion.
So while this is up, if you get hit at all, you don't take any damage. You just return to the start point. Like, you don't even take the effective, like, super armor damage. You're free. Doesn't matter if it does 1 hit point of damage or a million hit points of damage. You just don't take damage. You are consequence free while this is up, which is amazing. And of course, hey, you still do as much damage as you ever did. Like, that part doesn't go away. The only difference is at the end of the clock, you go back. So if you do this, basically, you can do whatever stupid stuff you want. Take risks. Do whatever. It's basically free to do for the most part. The worst you'll get is just reset back to your starting point. So the only consequence is it does take a second to set up, I guess, but still, given the overall benefits, I think that's pretty all right. And if you're willing to burn some bar, you get the enhanced version, you get a clone, and it just copies whatever the last thing you did. So if he did an uppercut, he'll do a couple uppercuts before he dissipates. He's basically just a clone that will follow through. Say we're in the corner, and I got the meter to burn, right? So I can hit you with something, cancel into it, set him to do down 1. And then he'll just keep spamming down 1. And if you're paying along here earlier in class, if they're just going to block everything except the dummy, right? I control what the dummy's going to do. The inputs you enter when the clock is on is the inputs it'll do. So say you condition him, now instead of just jabbing all the time, I'll just jab once.
Nagyon körülményes, azt mondanám.
Only one jab.
Itt most a falnál tényleg faszán minden, meg valami izé után, de
game over.
A falnál az érdekes, mert ugye onnan nem tud mit csinálni, de hogyha csak simán hátrébb van, akkor...
But that's some innovative fighting game nonsense, really. That you got your clone pre-programmed to enter whatever inputs you want to input when they have the time stop on. It'll do everything short of a throw, because it can't throw for you, because that would be messed up, right? But yeah, if you just want to do one jab, if you want to input a whole string, whatever you want, as long as that clock's in, whatever inputs you do...
Falnál érdekes lehetne, jó van. Várd még gyorsan. Ez a Lee May nagyon nem tetszett, de hát most látunk valami gyors, de valószínűleg nem.
Because she's aiming for a game plan not a lot of other characters are aiming for. Obviously, you want to punch and kick your opponent in the head till they die, sure, right? But the way she goes about it is very different. Not the least of which is this, the lantern. This is one of the most unique moves in the game. In and of itself, it doesn't do much, really. But what it is a big no-fly zone. If you are anywhere near it as is above your head, or if you jump into it, it's gonna blow you up something fierce. So while this is up, you can't necessarily play the way you would normally like to play, which is very, very interesting. And she can do a lot of ways.
Erre azt mondom, erre lehet azt mondani, ez egy olyan karakter, amit hogyha mit tudom, olyan valaki ellen játszol, aki mondjuk olyan karaktert játszik, aki nagyon sokat ugrál, akkor az ellen lehet jó, de amúgy...
Like say, if it's close to you, she has a
vagy valakinek csak olyan game...
Which launches, right? So, okay, it's above your head, guess low, whoops, you guess wrong, get hit, right? Or say 4-3.
Jó, végül is így is lehet, nyilván.
The overhead launches a little bit, just enough for you to touch that lantern.
De ez valószínűleg azokban a körülményekben, vagy azokban a helyzetekben lehet még erősebb.
Then of course, if it's just already in the air, whoops! Dum-dum jumped into it, and now look at this. Took that much damage. That's just a really cool aspect of the character. And it's not the only thing about the character, but I like how all you gotta do is just go one setup and say, no, this part of the fighting game we normally do with jumping and all that, you really can't do that right now. Now, besides that, Lee May is fairly stock. She's got a fireball, good. Has an air fireball. Enhanced fireball, both air and ground, basically has a knock forward effect, which knocks the opponent into you, and then you can do whatever combos.
Szecsájka.
Really help with the bazooka knee.
Hát ez be lett küldve videónak, de attól még lehet, hogy lesz Mortal Kombat tudás. Már nem ma, de úgy egyébként.
Kick, punches, explosions, really cool. The EX version is armored and has a lot of range as well, so you can catch people just on reaction with it. That's really cool. And that fireball, if you're fast enough,
jó, mindegy, hagyjuk.
Keyword fast enough, because right there, that's not fast enough. Now, Kenshi. I've been doing this fighting game thing long enough to know the two words that scare people the most in fighting games are stance character and puppet character. And Kenshi
Is
is a
both.
puppet character and a stance character. He has a puppet. That's his pal Sento. Look at this guy right here. Ah! And he can attack you and all that kind of stuff. And also, look at a stand 2. While our ghost is out, oh, stand 2 is a completely different move. So while he has the puppet out, he also has an all-new stance with all new moves, which I'm sure is going to scare 80% of you out of the gate. So let's dial it down first, and let's start with the basics. So basics, Kenshi still does Kenshi stuff. Shoulder charge, summon ghost for launches, force push, which is holdable by the way. The more you hold it, the bigger it gets. If you enhance it, it charges a lot faster, right? So a lot of the usual denials, screen, a lot of control of the screen stuff is all there. Now, what returns from what is nominally a variation-only move in older games, Demon Drop. So this is aimable. You can choose close, medium, or far. And this is just a straight-up projectile overhead, basically. You have to stand block this. Certainly no neutral ducking this guy. Because if you neutral duck, you get bopped. And naturally enough, the enhanced version juggles. So if you want to play around from full screen, he can still deal appreciable damage to you no matter how far away you are. But say you're the kind of madman, like, I don't want to deal with all the zoning and stuff, right? You want to charge in honorable combat, hurrah, and work your way in. Well, luckily enough, this move actually destroys projectiles. So if you just want to be a madman and rush your way in, projectiles will not stop you. So for whatever reason, you're getting outzoned despite all your tools, you can just say, nah, man, I'm coming in, you got to deal with it. And also, if you have second thoughts, you can totally just cancel the run by hitting the stance button and go for whatever you want to go for from there. Now, besides the fanciness of the telekinesis, he also has pretty appreciable normals here because, hey, he does have a sword, right? So the range is really good on a lot of his various sword normals. So keep that in mind that just besides the usual projectile zoning, he can hold his own neutral with his fairly large buttons. But now, let's take off the band-aid, right? The stance. So when you have the stance up, the cast. Baraka. So Baraka historically has never fared too well in most Mortal Kombat games, both in terms of story and in terms of just being a character worth playing. This time around, I think he might have what it takes to succeed. Why? Well, one, he's just got a bundle of good normals. Like, look at a sweep. A sweep that can hit from this far away is a sweep worth using. That's good. He has just good stuff here, like a forward 4, quick mid. Want to follow through, it has a string as well. If you have back 1, quick low with some decent range, that's good. Stand 2 has a lot of range for how fast it is, that's good. Forward 2, just a giant F-off poke, that's good. Back 3, this is one of the shining stars here. Very fast mid into low, also has meterless launcher, which is safe on block, by the way. And then you can just go into, you know, whatever combo stuff you want to go into, right? And as you can tell, his combo structure, like, all the animations are vicious as hell. Even the basic stuff, like, he's always had a basic projectile, right? It's actually not bad. Fairly fast, 8 damage, 8% rather. Good for what it is. The enhanced version, 10%, and does a damage over time effect. And while the damage over time effect is happening, you do increased chip damage to the enemy while they're blocking. So that's not bad at all. He now has an air spin as well. Combo structure, sure. But also, just in those situations where they both happen to be in the air, before, all you can do is hit a button, right? Now, you can charge forward, and this eats a lot of screen real estate. So, if it's air to air, you're almost certainly going to crush them. He has fun modular moves here, so quarter circle back 1, on its own, causes a good knockdown. But if it happens to be against an airborne opponent, then all of a sudden, you just start stabbing them. And you get to choose which side they're dumped out on. So whatever's more advantageous to you, just hold left or right, and they dump out on that side. He's also just really good at dumping meter. So say Chop Chop, which has return and very vicious looking, right? You can enhance it, sure, but you can enhance it after it's already done. So if you're just looking for like that killing blow, you can dump the meter and just do well. Also,
Akkor egy csomó ilyen használ, máshogy működik akkor végül is. Ez például lehet közben vagy utána. Azt mondja.
And, well, if you're launching the enemy, hey, quick overhead, quick juggles, right? So you can get some decent stuff off of it. I guess one of the biggest selling points of Baraka is just simply his level of viciousness. Like, stand 4, normally for everyone it's a big kick. For him, you can keep mashing it and just getting multiple blade flurries, right? So I don't think the character's ever looked more vicious than he has in this rendition of the game. For the most part, he's rushed down. He's just here to clobber you in the face. He's good. Stuff like his new blade special in the air gives random jump kicks just a lot more teeth, as he's able to convert off a random hit in a way he couldn't really before. That's really handy. I think he's just got a bag of really good normals that are just handy across the board. I just think he's a solid all-round character now. Playable in the game. Havoc is a gross, weird boy. I think that says it all right there. So what happened there?
Havik.
He headbutted you. His head
Volt ilyen.
exploded, and then it regrew.
Nem is volt ilyen, volt ilyen.
He can rip off his own head and beat you with it, all that kind of stuff. He's just a gross, silly boy. Not the least of which, have you ever heard of disjointed normals in a fighting game? Well, how about this disjoint?
Mi a
How
szar?
about this disjoint? Because his limbs are literally coming off the joints to hit you. So he's that kind of guy. Now, how does he play? He's a weird hybrid of a couple different things. So does he have a fireball? Sure. It's a little slow, right? Not winning any zoning wars. But the enhanced version comes in from the other side of the screen. It won't necessarily home in on people that are jumping, but it'll try to hit the enemy as long as they're level with the screen. And yeah, so while this is out, you can freely move around, right? So they have to worry about the incoming projectile while you are also bulldogging on them. He even has more than one projectile. So the other one, he rips his head open basically, and something escapes from his body.
Jó, mindegy,
and it's
igen,
a
és akkor
big
van még a Johnny Cage.
Mortal Kombat 1. Johnny Cage. So in a lot of ways, he's everything you think he would be, but in some ways, he's actually changed up quite a bit. So one, the green glow. While he certainly has moves like the shadow kick, he can do the uppercut, no more green glow. And specifically, that means no more projectiles. So he's basically pure rushdown, which, hey, that's fine. He's got tools for it. He has a command dash for one. And he can double dash if you want to spend meter enhancing it. It's completely immune to projectiles. His wave dash game, very good. So if you just want to work your way in the old-fashioned way, he can do it faster than most characters. He can basically wave dash as fast as like some characters could run in Mortal Kombat X. But yeah, other than what potentially your cameo brings to the table, you got no ranged options. You work your way in, and then, well, he's got a lot of good stuff. Not the least which, don't worry, that punch still very much there, right? He's got a lot of those classics. If you're looking to bully your opponent when you're already in, stand 1-1, 1-1-4, and stand 4-4. All really good, strong sources of plus frames. 4-4 specifically. It's plus 15 on block, which is ridiculous. But yeah, basically you get in there and you do your thing. So as far as doing your thing entails, stuff like, say, forward 1-2-4. That is meterless launcher. So we get in, and you can get some combo ability from it. If you're looking to uppercut people, rising uppercut is very easily comboable, as it lets you attack while you're at the top of your jump. So you can smoke the enemy, stand 2, jump forward, juggle. Not necessarily the most optimal example here, but just giving you an idea of what's possible, right? So good juggle potential there on the basics mid-screen. Other than throwing fireballs, Johnny can do a lot of the Johnny things, right? But I'm kind of burying the lead here. So you see those big stars in the corners. That's kind of everything Johnny is in this version of this game. The hype meter. So when you do special moves, you slowly build it up, right? Not too fast, but it's there. But the thing is, many special moves, if you hold the stance change button, do some taunting here. You have a little bit of fun. And when you taunt, it builds up that meter a good bit. And when it's full and ready to go, it's showtime. So what happens now that the stage light is on you, right? What's going on here? What nutness is this? Well, I think that's a good idea, right? It lets you cancel any special move into any other special move up to 3 times. So suffice to say, your damage output drastically goes up. On top of the various specials here, where you can do it, you can also just manually build up the hype gauge yourself. And it's the same command as activating once it's full. And here's one of the things. So another important thing about hype mode is when you do a special move in hype mode, it is always the enhanced version. So say I do the uppercut. I can still do my air juggles after the uppercut, all that kind of stuff. So no matter what, like a ball buster there, only the enhanced version leaves you standing. Normally, it would fall down, right? So whenever you're doing your specials, you're always getting the better version of the special completely for free on top of the combo freedom that's given you. So let's give you an example.
Na mondjuk így mondjuk nagyon kemény, gecó.
So there we go. And the hype gauge isn't even done yet, right? That's 40% completely meterlessly. And that's just an example. Depending on which cameos you have and how much you're willing to go in your positioning, you can get pretty absurd. As long as that gauge is going, you're allowed to triple cancel any special. And once again, it's the EX version, so they always do more damage as well. And the amount of freedom you have and just
Jó, és mi a
find
conclusion?
a fatal blow to say the least pretty well. And that is the
A
choose
konklúzió
your
pedig
main
az,
for
hogy
Mortal
igen,
Kombat 1.
ja, azt
This
próbáld ki
isn't intended to
mindent.
be a full guide for every single character, naturally.
Próbáld ki mindent, azt válasz
But
magadnak, amit
hopefully I gave you a
szeretnél.
good idea of what every character is capable of, some of the cooler aspects of the character, some of the things they can do. I think the roster in Mortal Kombat 1 is very strong. I think some of these characters are doing some of the best things they've done in many years, many renditions of the games. And I just think the game's pretty cool all in all. So that said, hope you enjoyed the video. If you stuck around the song, leave a like. That would help out quite a bit. And otherwise, it's time for you to go out and enjoy some Mortal Kombat 1. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play.
Nem sokat Mortal Kombatoztam nyilván, de kicsit a Mortal Kombat is kicsit olyan, hogy van belőle 10 akármennyi, és amúgy igazából, hát úgy még minden ez is, de hát amúgy lehetett volna úgy is, hogy amúgy nem kell még egy gémet csinálni, nem? Ja, na mindegy, de amúgy egy lájkot azt nyomhatnál. Na jó, mi legyen? Még egy TFT? TFT-t be lehet sűríteni? Állítólag most az kurva jó. Nem akarok meg, amúgy is fölrobbant az ujjam.